I noticed the exact moment his hand slipped out of mine. At first, I convinced myself maybe Ethan had just stepped outside for some air, or maybe to grab another drink, or even to greet a friend. But the way his body moved, shoulders tense, jaw clenched, eyes refusing to meet mine, told me otherwise. Before I could process it, he was gone. Just gone. Out the door without a word, without a backward glance. I stood frozen in the middle of that crowded living room, laughter and music pressing around me, but all I felt was the floor tilting beneath my feet. That's when the fear set in. Because when a husband walks out of a party without a scene, without anger, without a word, it usually means one thing. He knows. Before the party, Ethan and I had been married 8 years. Solid years, I thought. Not perfect, no marriage is, but full of little rituals that felt like anchors. Coffee every morning together. Shared playlists in the car. Lazy Sundays with crossword puzzles and pancakes. I believed we were a team. But lately, he had grown quieter. Not cold, exactly. Just withdrawn, observing more than speaking, watching me with eyes I couldn't decipher. When Jenna, our mutual friend, invited us to her birthday party, I felt relief. Maybe a night out would shake off the strange fog between us. I even took extra time getting ready, slipping into the dress he once said made me look untouchably elegant. I wanted him to see me that way again. The house buzzed with life, music pulsing, voices spilling out onto the deck, the smell of barbecue hanging heavy in the air. Old friends laughing, hugging, catching up. For a while, it worked. Ethan smiled. He loosened up. He even teased Jenna about her karaoke obsession. And then, he disappeared into the kitchen. When he returned, something in his face had shifted. Subtle, almost invisible to others, but to me it felt like a cold wind cutting across the room. His gaze swept over the crowd, lingered on me for a flicker, and then slid past to him. Daniel. The mistake. The regret. The shadow I had been trying to bury for months. We hadn't spoken since I ended it, but there he was. At the same party as my husband. And when Daniel's eyes met mine, he gave the faintest nod, a cruel reminder of what we had shared. That was all it took. Ethan saw. I knew it by the way his shoulders stiffened, the way his glass trembled before he set it down. He didn't need words. He didn't need me to explain. That's when he walked out. I froze. I should have chased after him, but my body betrayed me. My mind filled with excuses, lies that already sounded hollow. By the time I stumbled outside, his car was gone. The drive home felt endless. Every red light a knife twisting deeper. My phone buzzed, friends checking in, Jenna asking if everything was okay. But Ethan? Silence. When I pulled into our driveway, his car was already there. The porch light glowed, but the house was painfully quiet. Inside, he sat at the kitchen table. Jacket still on. A half-empty glass of whiskey in front of him. He didn't look up when I entered. Ethan, I whispered, my voice cracking. Can we talk? He sat still for what felt like forever before finally speaking. Who is he? My heart slammed against my ribs. What do you mean? I forced a laugh that died in my throat. Don't, he said flatly. Don't insult me, Claire. I swallowed hard. It's nothing. It's over. His head lifted, eyes locking onto mine with fire. So there was something. The silence that followed was worse than any shouting could have been. He didn't scream. He didn't throw things. he just sat there, his pain bleeding through those eyes. Somehow, that quiet devastation hurt more than rage ever could. "How long?" he asked. 3 months, I whispered. He closed his eyes like the number itself was crushing. "Was it worth it?" "No," I sobbed. "It was the biggest mistake of my life." "Funny," he said softly. "Because I thought I was the biggest mistake of your life." After that, cracks splintered everything. For days, we barely spoke. He moved into the guest room. The sound of his footsteps, the creak of doors, the scrape of utensils at dinner, all of it replaced his voice. I tried to explain. To tell him Daniel had been nothing but a stupid distraction in a rough patch. But Ethan's face never softened. One night he finally said, raw and broken, "It wasn't meaningless to me. Because now, every time you smiled at me, every time you touched me, I'll wonder if it was him you were thinking of." That kind of betrayal stains everything. Apologies can't wash it out. A week later, Ethan came home late. He stood in the doorway, pale, hollow. "I saw him today," he said. My stomach churned. "Daniel?" He nodded. He didn't even look guilty. Just smug. Like he'd taken something from me. His voice cracked. "Do you understand what that does to me, Claire? To know another man had pieces of you that were supposed to be mine?" Tears filled his eyes. "That broke me. I want to fix this," I begged. "Tell me how." But silence was his answer. His decision. The next morning, I found a letter on the counter. No screaming, no anger. Just the truth in his handwriting. "I love you, but I can't unsee what I saw. I can't unknow what I know. I've been walking through this house like a ghost. And I realize now it's because we're already gone. I don't hate you, Claire. But I don't trust you. And without trust, love is just pain. Then came the sounds I'll never forget. The zip of bags. The shuffle of his shoes. The click of the door. And he was gone. That party that was supposed to bring us closer had been the beginning of the end. I replayed it constantly, the way his hand slipped from mine, the look in his eyes as our world collapsed. I didn't lose him in a storm of rage. I lost him in silence. And that silence was louder than anything I'd ever heard. Every night, I sit at the same kitchen table where he confronted me, staring at the empty chair across from mine. The house still carries his scent, but it fades a little more each day. People say time heals. But some wounds don't close. They just scar, leaving you tracing the outline of what you destroyed. I thought betrayal was just a momentary lapse, a mistake I could bury. But Ethan taught me something in the quiet way he left. Betrayal isn't about what you did. It's about what you broke. Word count, 1,733.